Hi dear students, welcome to online classes. I am Virupaksha BP. Today concept is periodic trends in physical properties. Before discussing about physical properties, let us know what is effective nuclear charge. In atom, this is nucleus, these are inner shells, this is outermost shell, this is outermost shell electron, these are inner shell electrons. In atom, the outermost shell electron suffering from two forces. One is force of attraction. The another one is force of repulsion. The force of attraction is due to nucleus. It attracts outermost electron towards itself due to opposite charges. And the force of repulsion is due to inner shell electrons. These inner shell electrons, they repel the outer shell electrons due to same charges. Here there are two forces are acting on outermost electron. One is force of attraction, the another one is force of repulsion. If force of attraction is greater than force of repulsion, then what happens? This outermost electron will move towards the nucleus. When outermost electron move towards the nucleus, then size decreases. If force of repulsion is greater than force of attraction, then this outermost electron will move away from the nucleus. In such cases, the size will increases. The nuclear charge. What is nuclear charge? Charge on nucleus. It is equal to atomic number. The charge on nucleus is equal to atomic number. Atomic number is equal to number of protons. If there is a more number of protons in nucleus, then there is a more charge on nucleus. If there is a more charge on nucleus, then there is a more force of attraction between nucleus and last electron or outermost electron. Then what is the effective nuclear charge? Here, due to repulsive force, the force of attraction decreases on outermost electron. Then the net force of attraction on outermost electron is called as effective nuclear charge. For example, the force of attraction on outermost electron is 5 newtons. The force of attraction is 5 newtons. And the force of repulsion from this electron is 1 newtons. And the force of repulsion from this electron is 1 newtons. Then what is the force of attraction on outermost electron? What is the real force of attraction on outermost electron? The real force of attraction on outermost electron is equal to 5 minus 2, 3. This is the effective nuclear charge or the net attraction on outermost electron. Inner electrons will repel outer electrons. Due to same charge. Due to this repulsion, the attraction on outermost electron, the nuclear attraction on outermost electron decreases. Attraction on outermost electron decreases. And this decreased attraction will be called as effective nuclear charge. Effective nuclear charge. Effective nuclear charge, it represents real force of attraction on outermost electron, right? It represents net attraction, net or real attraction, net attraction on outermost electron, Then the mathematical expression for effective nuclear charge is effective nuclear charge is equal to Z minus sigma. Here Z means nuclear charge, the total nuclear charge, total number of positive charges, and sigma is repulsive force, the force of repulsion. The total repulsive force is called sigma, where Z is indicates nuclear charge, sigma is total repulsive force, or we can call it as the screening constant, This is effective nuclear charge. Now let us know what is the screening effect or shielding effect. Screening or shielding effect. The inner shell electrons will work as a screen or shield around the nucleus. This effect is called as the screening effect. See here, this is the nucleus, this is inner shell, and this is the outer shell. Inner shell electrons. See, these inner shell electrons will work as a screen around the nucleus, and these inner shell electrons, they protect the nucleus from outermost electron. This effect is called as the screening effect, screen or shield. The inner electrons will work as a screen or shield around the nucleus. This effect is called as a screening effect, or in another word we can say like that, the total repulsive force due to inner shell electron is called as a shielding effect or screening effect. Inner shell electrons will work as a screen or shield around the nucleus. This effect is called screening effect. In another definition, in another word, we can say that the total repulsive force is called as screening effect. Okay, what is screening or shielding effect? The inner shell electrons, they act as a screen around the nucleus. That means they protect the nucleus from outermost electrons. This effect is called as a screening effect. And or in other words, we can say that the total repulsive force from inner shell electrons is called as a screening effect. If number of inner shell electrons increases, then screening around the nucleus increases. If screening around the nucleus increases, the repulsive force also increases. If repulsive force increases, the force of attraction between nucleus and outermost shell electron decreases. Number of inner shell electrons increases If number of inertial electrons increases, then screening effect increases. Screening effect increases. If screening effect increases, then what happens to the real attraction on outermost electron? The force of attraction between nucleus and outermost electron decreases. Why? Because the inertial electrons are protecting around the nucleus. They are protecting the nucleus from outermost electron. The effective nuclear charge decreases. Effective nuclear charge decreases. This is the effective nuclear charge and screening or shielding effect. Now let us discuss physical properties one by one. The first one is atomic radius. What is atomic radius? The distance from center of the nucleus to outermost shell of the electron is called as atomic radius. This is nucleus. This is outermost shell. This is outermost shell electron. The distance from center of the nucleus to outermost shell electron is called atomic radius. Is called atomic radius. The distance from center of the nucleus to outermost shell of the electron. Outermost shell of the electron is called as atomic radius. But absolute values of atomic radius cannot be determined. Atomic radius cannot be determined. Why? We cannot calculate exact values of atomic radius because there are two reasons. One is isolation of single atom is not possible or it is very difficult. The isolation of single atom from element is difficult. Why? Because atoms are very small particles. So isolation of single particle is very difficult. The first reason is isolation. The isolation of single atom is difficult. The second reason is we don't know exact boundary for the atom. That's why we cannot calculate the distance from center of the nucleus to outermost shell. We don't know exact boundary of the atom. That's why we cannot calculate exact values of atomic radius. There is no well-defined boundary. Defined boundary for the atom. Next, then what is the exact definition for atomic radius? The correct definition for atomic radius is it is half of the internuclear distance between two atoms. It is half of the internuclear distance. Half of the internuclear distance. Internuclear distance between two atoms. Distance between two atoms. What is internuclear distance? The distance between two nucleus is called internuclear distance. Just I am considering two atoms. These are the nucleus. The distance between two nucleus is called as internuclear distance. The distance between two nucleus is called internuclear distance. Then what is atomic radius? Half of the internuclear distance. half of the internuclear distance is called as atomic radius. Depending upon the bond, depending upon the type of bond, atomic radius are classified into three types. Types of atomic radius. Atomic radius. Based on the type of bond, based on the type of bond between atoms, there are three types of atomic radius. Based on atomic bonds, atomic bonding, based on the atomic bonding, there are three types. One is covalent radius. Covalent radius. What is covalent radius? It is half of the internuclear distance between two covalently bonded atoms. It is the half of the internuclear distance between two identical covalent bonded atoms. This is atom A and this is atom A. It is the half of the internuclear distance between two identical covalently bonded atoms, and here two atoms are covalently bonded. Covalently bonded means two atoms are overlapped together. The internuclear distance means the distance between two nucleus. The distance between two nucleus. Half of the internuclear distance. This is the distance between two nucleus. The half of the internuclear distance is called as a covalent radius. It is half of the internuclear distance. Half of the internuclear distance. Internuclear distance between two identical covalently bonded atoms, because the classification is based on type of bonding between atoms. Here two atoms are covalently bonded. When two atoms are covalently bonded, then half of the internuclear distance is called as covalent radius. Half of the internuclear distance between two identical means same atoms, identical covalently bonded atoms. Covalently bonded atoms is called as a covalent radius. What is covalent bond? Covalent bond is formed by overlapping of atoms. See here, these two atoms are overlapped together. This overlapping is called as a covalent bond. Covalent bond is formed by overlapping of atomic orbitals. Overlapping of atomic orbitals. Next, the internuclear distance. The distance between two nucleus is called internuclear distance. Internuclear distance is also called as bond length. Internuclear distance. Internuclear distance is also called as bond length. Bond length. Covalent radius is calculated for non-metals. It is defined for non-metals. It is defined for non-metals. Now, what is the mathematical expression for covalent radius? The distance, internuclear distance between two identical atoms is equal to the internuclear distance between two identical atoms is equal to the sum of atomic radius of this atom and atomic radius of this atom. The sum of atomic radius of A and atomic radius of another A atom. What is internuclear distance between two identical atoms? The internuclear distance between two identical atoms is equal to sum of radius of A plus radius of another A atom. Internuclear distance is equal to 2RA. 2RA. To calculate radius of A, then just rearrange the formula. Radius of A is equal to internuclear distance between two identical atoms divided by 2. Divide by 2. This is important. This is covalent radius. One example. In chlorine molecule, the internuclear distance between two chlorine atoms is equal to 1.98 angstrom. Then calculate covalent radius. Calculate covalent radius of chlorine atom. How do you calculate? Just use this formula. The radius of atom is equal to internuclear distance between two identical atoms divided by 2. Covalent radius of chlorine atom is equal to internuclear distance between two chlorine atoms divided by 2. Just what is the distance between internuclear distance between two chlorine atoms? 1.98 angstrom. Divide by 2. Calculate this one. After calculation, we will get to 0.99 angstrom. In this way, we have to calculate covalent radius of atoms. The next type of atomic radius is metallic radius or crystal radius. What is metallic radius? It is half of the internuclear distance between two metallic bonded atoms. Metallic bonded atoms. Here atoms are not overlapped together and atoms are not much close to each other as covalent bonded atoms. In covalent bonded atoms, the atoms are overlapped together and their atoms are more close to each other. But in metallic bonded atoms, the atoms are not overlapped together and they are not much close to each other as in covalent bonded atoms. Here the atoms are in just touch each other. So the distance between two nucleus, is called internuclear distance. This is internuclear distance. Half of the internuclear distance is called metallic radius, and the internuclear distance between two metallic bonded is greater as compared to internuclear distance between two covalent bonded atoms. Why? Because here atoms are close to each other, but in metallic bonded atoms, atoms are not much close to each other. Here atoms are overlapped, so the internuclear distance is less as compared to the internuclear distance between metallic bonded atoms. That's why metallic radius is greater than covalent radius. Now I will write definition. It is half of the internucleus. It is half of the internuclear distance. Internuclear distance between two metallic bonded atoms. Metallic bonded atoms is called a metallic radius, and metallic radius is calculated for only metals. It is defined for metals. It is defined only for metals. metals. And the mathematical expression is the internuclear distance between two metallic bonded atoms is D, is equal to the sum of metallic radius of one atom and metallic radius of another atom, Rm plus Rm. Then D is equal to 2Rm, metallic radius. Okay, if you want to calculate metallic radius, then Rm is equal to D by 2. This is the mathematical expression for metallic radius. Metallic radius is equal to internuclear distance between two metallic bonded atoms divided by 2. Here D means internuclear distance. Internuclear distance between two metallic bonded atoms. Metallic bonded atoms. Then what is Rm? Metallic radius. Metallic radius is greater than covalent radius. Why? Because in metallic bonded atoms, the internuclear distance is more as compared to internuclear distance between covalent bonded atoms. Metallic radius is greater than covalent radius. Covalent radius. Next, metallic radius is inversely proportional to metallic radius is inversely proportional to metallic bond strength. Metallic bond strength. Bond strength. Metallic radius is inversely proportional to metallic bond strength. If metallic radius increases, metallic bond strength decreases. If metallic radius decreases, metallic bond strength increases. On example, the internuclear distance between two sodium atoms is 3.72 angstrom. The internuclear distance between two sodium atoms, for example, if you consider this is sodium atom, this is sodium atom, the internuclear distance between two sodium atoms is 3.72 angstrom. Then calculate metallic radius of sodium atom. Calculate metallic radius of sodium atom. Use this formula to calculate metallic radius. Metallic radius of sodium atom is equal to internuclear distance between two sodium atoms divided by 2. What is the internuclear distance between two sodium atoms? 3.72 angstrom divided by 2. Then you will get 1.86 angstrom. Nearly you will get 1.86 angstrom. In this way, we have to calculate metallic radius when the internuclear distance is given. The third atomic radius is van der Waals radius. What is van der Waals radius? It is half of the internuclear distance between two adjacent non-bonding atoms of different molecules is called van der Waals radius. This is molecule 1 and this is second molecule 2. It is half of the internuclear distance between two adjacent non-bonding atoms of different molecules. Here these two atoms are not bonded like covalent or metallic. They are non-bonding atoms. The distance between two nucleus in non-bonded atoms is called internuclear distance between two non-bonded atoms. This is internuclear distance. Half of the internuclear distance. Half of the internuclear distance between two adjacent non-bonding atoms of different molecules is called van der Waals radius. What is van der Waals radius? It is half of the internuclear distance between two adjacent atoms, two adjacent non-bonding atoms of different molecule is called van der Waals radius. It is half of the internuclear distance between two adjacent non-bonding atoms of different molecules, non-bonding atoms of different molecules is called as van der Waals radius. The mathematical expression for van der Waals radius is the internuclear distance between two adjacent non-bonding atoms is equal to van der Waals radius of this atom and van der Waals radius of this atom. The sum of van der Waals radius of this atom and van der Waals radius of another atom. D is equal to 2 into van der Waals radius of atom. And if you want to calculate van der Waals radius, then van der Waals radius is equal to D divided by 2. What is D? D is internuclear distance between two non-bonded atoms. And van der Waals radius is more as compared to covalent radius and metallic radius. Why? Because van der Waals radius is calculated for non-bonding atoms. Here in non-bonding atoms, the internuclear distance is more as compared to internuclear distance between two covalent bonded atoms or two metallic bonded atoms. That's why van der Waals radius is greater than metallic radius, and metallic radius is greater than covalent radius. This is very important. And what is the relation between van der Waals radius and covalent radius? The van der Waals radius is equal to twice of covalent radius. Van der Waals radius is equal to twice of covalent radius. This is the relation between van der Waals radius and covalent radius. One example, the distance between two adjacent chlorine atoms, the distance between two adjacent chlorine atoms of different molecules, is 3.6 angstrom. Then calculate the van der Waals radius of chlorine atoms. Then what is the formula to calculate van der Waals radius? Van der Waals radius is equal to D by 2. Van der Waals radius is equal to D by 2. What is D? It is the internuclear distance between two non-bonding atoms. Here what is the distance between two adjacent chlorine atoms? 3.6 angstrom. 3.6 angstrom divided by 2. You will get 1.8 angstrom. In this way we have to calculate van der Waals radius. The next concept is factors affecting atomic radius. That means on what factor the atomic radius is depend. It depends on three factors. The first one, atomic radius is inversely proportional to atomic radius is inversely proportional to effective nuclear charge. Effective nuclear charge. What is the effective nuclear charge? The real attraction on outermost electron is called effective nuclear charge. If effective nuclear charge increases, then atomic radius decreases. Why? Because the outermost electrons move towards the nucleus. This I will show. This is the nucleus, this is inner shell, and this is the outer shell. This is electron. What is the effective nuclear charge? The real attraction on outermost electron. If attraction on outermost electron increases, then what happens? This electron move towards the nucleus. If electron starts moving towards the electron, then size decreases, right? Effective nuclear charge increases, atomic radius decreases. Effective nuclear charge increases, then atomic radius decreases. Both are inversely proportional. Second one, atomic radius is directly proportional to screening effect. Screening effect. What is screening effect? The total repulsive force is called a screening effect. See here, if there is a more inner shell electrons, what happens? They increases repulsion. Means all inner shell electron, they repel the outer shell electron. They will repel the outer shell electron. When they repel outer shell electron, the outer shell electron will move away from the nucleus. When they started to move away from the nucleus, then the size increases. Why? Because the attraction on outermost electron decreases. That's why the size increases. Next, third one, atomic radius is directly proportional to number of shells. As number of shells increases, atomic radius increases. See, this is one shell. If number of shells increases, then the distance increases. No, that's why atomic radius also increases as number of shells increases. These are the factors affecting atomic radius. The next concept is trends of atomic radius in periodic table. First one, in a period, atomic radius decreases from left to right. Why it decreases from left to right? Because as atomic number increases in a period, number of protons increases. As number of protons increases, the charge on nucleus increases. As the charge on nucleus increases, the force of attraction between nucleus and outermost electron increases. That's why the size decreases. Atomic radius decreases from left to right, in a period. Why? What is the reason? The reason is, as atomic number increases in a period, Z means what? Atomic number. As atomic number increases, number of protons increases. As number of protons increases, then effective nuclear charge means the real attraction on outermost electron increases. Effective nuclear charge increases. This is the reason for why atomic radius decreases from left to right in the periodic table. Next, but there is an exception case. Exception. According to general trend, atomic radius decreases from left to right. Now I will write the atomic radius for all the elements in the period: lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon. According to general trend, atomic radius decreases. That means the radius of lithium is greater than radius of beryllium, radius of beryllium is greater than boron, radius of boron is greater than radius of carbon, radius of carbon is greater than radius of nitrogen, radius of nitrogen is greater than radius of oxygen, and radius of oxygen is greater than radius of fluorine, and radius of fluorine is greater than radius of neon, according to general trend. But this trend is applicable only up to fluorine. After fluorine it is wrong, it is not applicable. Why? Because the noble gas element have maximum atomic radius as compared to all the elements in the period. Noble gas element have maximum radius. Why noble gas element have maximum radius compared to all the elements in the period? Because of two reasons. One is, in case of noble gas, outermost shell is completely filled with electrons. The electronic configuration is NH2np6. In noble gases, all orbitals are completely filled. Because of completely filled, there is a more interelectronic repulsion. There is a maximum interelectronic repulsion. Because of interelectronic repulsion, the size, what happens? Increases. Why? These inner electrons, their inner shell electrons, they repel outer electrons. When the outer electrons move away from the nucleus, then what happens? Size increases. That's why the noble gas element have maximum radius. Why? Because of maximum repulsion, maximum interelectronic repulsion. This is the one of the reason for why noble gas element have maximum radius. Second one, for noble gases we calculate van der Waals radius. Why? Because noble gas elements exist as monoatomic in nature. They exist as monoatomic. Noble gas exist as monoatomic. Monoatomics mean non-bonding atoms. They are non-bonding atoms. That's why we calculate van der Waals radius. For noble gases. They are monoatomic gases. That's why noble gas element have maximum radius. In a group, atomic radius increases from top to bottom in the periodic table. Atomic radius increases from top to bottom. In a group. Why atomic radius increases from top to bottom in the periodic table or in a group? The reason is, as atomic number increases, the number of shells increases. Shells means n, it is denoted by small n. As atomic number increases, the number of shells increases. As number of shells increases, then what happens? Effective nuclear charge decreases. As effective nuclear charge decreases, then what happens? Size increases. Now I will write one example: lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. Down the group from top to bottom, atomic radius increases. That means the radius of lithium is less than radius of sodium. Radius of sodium is smaller than radius of potassium. Radius of potassium is smaller than radius of rubidium. The radius of rubidium is smaller than radius of cesium, and the radius of cesium is smaller than radius of francium. This is the general trend. Here also there are exception cases, but the exception cases are not given for your syllabus.